Hello, lovelies. I wanted to get on and chat to you a little bit about what I do about the mental load. Because especially this time of year, if you have kids in school, then there's so much going on, so many things to remember, and yet none of the things that we always have, our work, our running the house stuff, our other friend and family commitments, none of that goes away. And I found myself last week just completely overloaded. And as a meditation teacher and someone who's really committed to the practice and really committed, I think, to the inside self being the most important thing, because everything sources from the inside. So when our inside self is not at its best, the outside world and our outside life is not functioning at its best either. I heard someone say once, we don't have time not to meditate, not to take care of our minds, because when we're stressed, we're stupid, slow, and something else. I can't remember. And that is so true for me, So what I did last week, I think this is the thing I wanted to talk about, is really all the meditation stuff that goes in off the mat, the stuff that isn't about trying to find the time to sit for 20 minutes in the mornings, but is the stuff that we do all day long to create a life that is like fertile soil for how we want our inner self to be. And I know that, I don't live in a monastery. I don't live in a retreat center. I live in crazy life where all the pressures of, the modern world and what we're expected to do are there. All the craziness of the kids and their ups and downs and refusals to do basic stuff and all that is there. So, the overwhelm and the mental load is really real for me. And it's something that I really feel. And I know that, we're all going through this, right? But I think, it's one of these things that, because it's unseen, because it's not visible like our nutrition is, or like our exercise is, or like the cleanliness of our houses, sometimes it's easy to push this aspect of our self-care in our life like in the background. And for me, this has become the priority. This is above all else important. Eckhart Tolle has something really, profound and simple to say about this, which he talks about how so many people have come up to him over the years and said, I want what you have. Like, tell me how to get it. Tell me how to get that feeling of peace and, surrender and acceptance and friendship with life that he seems to walk around the world with. And he said, I always say to them, you have it already. You have it already. Your mind is just too noisy, so you can't feel it. And so I take this very seriously. I know when my mind is too noisy, when I am doing too many minor things with my mind, I don't have the ability to drop down into that place of intuition and inner knowing and wise self. And so I immediately stop everything and try to figure out how to unwind that and how to simplify my mind first. So this is the way that we can approach living from the inside out. Care about our minds first before everything. This is where we source from. So I really, I got so frustrated last week because so much of my mental load was about stuff that was like silly. It was like trying to make the kids go from get your shirt on for school, now get your socks on for school, come into the kitchen and put the bagel in your mouth. Like when you're micromanaging kids at that level and they're not stepping into their own independence, or you're micromanaging aspects of people's life when it's really not your circus and your monkeys and all that stuff, but somehow like we've accidentally taken that on. Or, I don't know, when there's a lot of decisions to make, when there's a lot of commitments at a certain time of year to remember. So my invitation to you is, number one, recognize the mental load that you're carrying at the moment, and understand that your mind and the state of your mind is the soil for your life, for your outer life. So you know, it's one of those things, I always think you can't get there from there. You know, you can't get to wisdom, to your deep wisdom state, from a mind that is completely overloaded with external detail stuff. So we have to find a way of simplifying the decisions in our life, the number of decisions we have to make, who we're making decisions for. And so, you know, I also get completely wrapped up in this stuff. And so when I find myself in a state where I'm like, wow, I am overwhelmed, my mind is doing way too many things that are not important. In the grand scheme of life, my mind is doing too many things that are not important. So I need to step back, and there's a couple of things that I think I've learned from meditation that are really, really important. And one is, I am 100% sovereign for my life. That doesn't mean that I excuse everybody else's behavior, or that people don't have a responsibility to, you know, my kids be independent for, you know, certain basic things or whatever. But I know that the only person I can change is me. And I know that when I change, the situation changes. So my first port of call always, when I know that the mental load has gotten too much, is to step back and ask myself some really tough questions, like, what am I taking on that is not necessary? What am I taking on that is not actually necessary, that I've convinced myself is necessary? And number two, what is my buy-in here? Like, what am I so attached to? What beliefs are driving my sometimes inability to let go of things that are not my job? So, you know, sometimes those beliefs are like, if I don't do X, Y, and Z, everything will fall apart. Or, you know, people won't get to school, or, you know, whatever it is. And really step back and ask, is that true? Because usually these beliefs that lock us into a certain way of being, a belief that we have to do things a certain way, it's usually so, you know, unconscious. We're not really aware of these beliefs until we kind of sit there for a moment and say, where am I really attached to things being the way that they are, even though I don't like it, even though I'm overwhelmed? So these are hard questions to ask ourselves, but when we keep ourselves, you know, sovereignty and freedom come with responsibility. It's like that, you know, Spider-Man thing with great with great power comes great responsibility. With great freedom comes great responsibility, or with great responsibility comes great freedom. So when you begin to take full responsibility for your own mind, for your own behavior, for your own part in the workings of life, the more you do that and learn how to work with your inner state, the more freedom you suddenly have, because you can always change you. It's not easy, but you can always change you. The rest of life is questionable. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just leave you with that. This is my download for today. And this is meditation life. This is meditation off the mat. This is the stuff that doesn't in some ways take time, that needs to be carved out from life. But this is the mental shift that we move into slowly and steadily, and, you know, and with commitment, that is leading us on the path to abiding in our wisdom state all the time. And this is what we're going for, to be awake to our lives and to ourselves all the time. Have a beautiful day. I hope this helped. Send me some links in the comments, or if you have a specific question about, you know, you feel like you want some meditation mindset input on a situation you're dealing with your own mental load, then send me a DM. I'd love to, you know, just problem solve it with you, or maybe there's a teaching that I can share with you. All right, lovelies, talk to you later.